Welcome to You Got the Ron Dude. I'm your host, Ron Jammin. So let's talk about Cities Skylines 2. Coming out, I believe, in October. I have a Xbox One, so definitely going to get it for that. Very excited. But the title of this podcast episode, I don't know if it will be a full podcast as I'm recording it, but it looks good, but not great. Now, the first look we got at the gameplay trailer, I mean, the visuals looked amazing. High definition, very crisp, rivaled that of Grand Theft Auto 5. But since then, the footage that I've seen, it doesn't look like that. Kind of close, but still a bit far away. Now, the first Cities Skylines, I was hoping they'd just remaster that and you can just re-download all the DLCs that you bought, because the expansion packs and that, all that stuff, I still have to buy most of those. There are a ton of them, and I still want to experiment with those, because I don't know if we'll have those same ones in part 2, but anyways, the first game, it looks like, like an early 2000s. And I get that you want to keep things simple, because the more quality you put into it, more rendering time it takes and stuff, and it can slow the game down. But at the same time, the first Cities came out in, I believe, 2015, not that long ago. So when I first got it, I was kind of disappointed, but if you see your city from afar, it's like, oh, okay. But it's just when you zoom in and when everything goes live and you see the characters and the vehicles, you're kind of like, this looks really dated. But with the new one, now the game's not out yet, so I could be wrong, because there's been a lot of content released, people going over the new tools, new features and stuff. And another thing that stood out is they say you won't have to worry about like the plumbing and electrical, setting all that stuff up, the grids and whatnot. And I think that should be optional, because I could argue both sides. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about that, but it's also a challenge. What about people who actually want to get into city planning, city developing? Could be a good education. Of course, you learn, the physical aspects of it, going to school for it, I'm sure, getting certified, but I don't want anything taken away from this game. That's my point. And I'm not sure, again, the game's not out, it's months away, but I'm kind of worried about the visual quality, because the trailer I saw, I mean, it looked like, pretty close to real life. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm still excited for it, just because I like new additions and new features, editing tools, and because I love building stuff, levels, maps. It actually started back in 2005, 2006. And actually, I'll talk about that for a bit. I wish I could remember everything about it. It was a Star Wars game, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I think that was like number 3 in the series, because Outcast was number 2. So when I first moved out, I didn't even have my own computer. This is 2002. So I remember my roommates having Jedi Outcast on the PC. I played that. All I remember is us laughing because my character kept falling. And, it's one of those like long falls. It was in some power station or something. But I wish I could remember more of that. But anyways, fast forward a few years later, and I'm playing Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy on PC. And it must have been in one of the servers, one of the lobbies. Somebody was hosting, it was called Maker Mod. And with that, you could actually use map objects and create your own, not really levels, there were no objectives or anything, but you could just build stuff So you could build like a house or a base or something, and you could still use weapons, but it wasn't specific to anything like Outpost Journey or something like that. But I just missed out on, it was called Luger Mod, its predecessor. And that, I don't think, even to this day, I haven't played that, I don't think. But it was good times, though. There's still some videos on my YouTube channel. I would take stills. And this is back in, like, the Fraps days. I don't know if that's even still around, but those were good times. So you take screenshots, make videos. And this is back when, just like on MySpace, I learned to code, to make my page. With MakerMod, you had to enter in commands. So you'd be like mplace, and then look up maps. I remember like T2 trip, and then list the object. And so a bit more technical. But eventually that whole community went away. It was really good. I had a bunch of different names. I was going through a name phase. Ron Jammin', it started in like 2010 when I started my other YouTube channel, and just stuck with that. Keep in mind, at that time, it's not that I had no interest in it. I didn't even know about it or consider it, building my own maps, levels, designing cities and stuff. So when I stumbled upon this, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Because even the name MakerMod, it was just one word. But it was like, interesting. Because I didn't know if it's like, modify a map, or I didn't realize, oh no, it's just you build maps, or you build, objects and stuff using map objects. Like I said, your own ships, bases, other stuff. You could recreate stuff, because this is Star Wars. So stuff like from the movies and that, which is really cool. And I'm sure now if I played it, the game would be pretty dated. Like the maps were pretty big, but the textures and all that were really simple. And they had like the jagged edge lines and that. But it was really good times in that. And I know games like these have been around for, decades now, since the 70s. Different kinds of like level map building games. But back then, it's funny I say back then, it was only 2006 when I discovered it. But, my history with computers and that, it's like, back then you didn't even think about searching for stuff. YouTube was pretty new, it was still in diapers. Social media. But basically not a lot of content out there to be like, hey, check this game out. Or if the game didn't consist of a word, like MakerMod, you're like, oh, I get it, make something. But other games, it's just like, I had no idea. Just like Far Cry 5, which I'll get into in a bit. But, yeah, it was good times. The summer of 06, I remember players would come into the server, and their characters would sit, and they'd be sitting too, I'm sure, in real life, and just watch you build, your own base and stuff. And it was also a learning experience at that time, because it's like you want control, so you have all these rules in the server, and it just doesn't work. Like, all right, everybody, no cursing, see? Behave yourself, see? They're just like, F you. Like, no cheating or something. I wish I could remember all this stuff, but I had a lot of falling out with people. It's ridiculous, because... But anyways, a lot of good times, a lot of cool stuff, and I'm sure you can find other players' YouTube channels, maybe their creations and that. Not too many of them out there. But I wish I had taken, or at least saved, more screenshots than that. Because when you're playing a game like that, you don't think it's ever going to go away, but that community, last time I checked, which was ages ago, is all but gone. But shout out to Toast and Scooper. I know Toast created it and then handed it off to Scooper, who was really interesting, always gave a lot of cool insight into stuff and that. But then you look ahead, cities comes along, and it's like, oh wow. Because you're not designing like each building, you're not going brick for brick or whatever and installing windows. It's more like, oh, you design a city, we simplified it. Because with MakerMod, if you could do that, building a city would take ages. Because you'd be like selecting, different colors and doing floor plans and all that. A lot of work. But again, options. Because some people are like, no, I want to do everything from the ground up. Now with cities, I'm trying to remember how I came across that. Because over the years, every now and then I would look up, like map building game, map design game. And oftentimes it would lead you to like software. Like, rendering 3D models and such. And I was like, well, I don't want to go that specific, that deep. It's more like, here are all the tools. Give me all the stuff I can just select and place and stuff. And more research you do, you figure out the different terminology. Like, what am I looking for? Because I don't want to create characters from scratch. It's like, I want to build something and just have characters ready for it. And with cities, I just love all the options. And again, with the expansion packs, all the DLCs, something like the seaside resorts and hotels and stuff excites me, because at one point I'm like, my favorite vacation destination, not that I've been to many places, but it's Ocean Shores, Washington. And a few years ago, we moved pretty far away from that state of Washington. And I missed the place so much, Ocean Shores. And I was like, I wonder if I could recreate it or make my own version. Like, if I lived there and I owned all that land, what would it look like? And with cities, the more expansion packs they released, I was like, interesting with the hotels and such. And when I started playing, I wish I hadn't scrapped some of the projects that I did, or any of them. I made a video about like abandoned projects, and some of them, you start out and sometimes you just want to build but you don't know what. And I wish I would have at least saved those. But I know what the issue is though. It's with the storage, because you have a certain amount of memory you can save. But still, I wish I would have kept those and just worked on other projects. But I was impressed, again, with all the tools and that, and just how easy it is once you learn everything, all the basics. It's pretty simple, but then you start building and then you'd be like, well, this stretch of road is like 5 miles long. And that's to the entrance of the city. Like my Sphere City project, the place is just too big. Because then you start thinking about all the residents, and I have how many workplaces, but then traffic, distance, and I had these different spheres, all over. Basically like roundabout cities, pretty much, or towns, all connected in that. But then it's like, that's a lot of people. And it's like, so are you building one big city or just some small towns all connected? But that one I still have to finish. I may have to kind of redo some things. But it's exciting because as you go along, you learn. Then you're like, well, that's a sign for fire. Now that building's abandoned. It's like people have to drive over here to go to work, when maybe I could put the work closer to them. But it's just so much fun learning. I think it'd be great for, kids, and they just come into it and they'd be like, what am I doing here? Like, build your own city. Oh, cool. And then they learn as they go. I think it was late last year, I was having a conversation with my dad, because I was telling him that I'm still looking for a game where I can design levels and, because you build a map, but level, you have an objective, like outpost, journey, assault, and such. And I kept digging around online because I'm like, again, with the keywords, with the terminology, it's like, I don't want to make my own video game. I want to do like an updated maker mod. Just give me all the tools, all the resources, place items, create levels, have objectives. Because I mentioned seeing this recreation of the GoldenEye map on YouTube. Or no, it was taken down for some reason because it was like a copyright issue or something like that, licensing. Somebody recreated it. And this is when I was introduced to Far Cry. I had no idea. Arcade mode, and then designing your own maps, your own levels. You start out with a grid, just a blank canvas. And I was like, finally, I found it. And it was shortly after that conversation, because I said, like, I'm willing to put in the work of, like walls and stuff, and stairs, just building whatever. I don't mind that. Or if they're already like, houses intact and stuff that's furnished. But as long as it's not coding. Far Cry. You've been sitting there for years. Far Cry 3, 4, and 5 have arcade mode map editor. I don't know if all of them call it the arcade mode. I know 5 does. So I bought 5. And holy moly. Now, my first map, the Wild Treasure Hunt, I wasn't aware that AI, the characters, took up so much memory. I had no idea. So I was just building and building. And you'll see I filled up the whole grid. And I have like hills, mountains and stuff. And then when I started placing characters, my memory is at like 99%. So I had no idea. I believe it's an assault map, but what I did is instead I placed a bunch of treasures around. Some in like a treasure chest, some, gold just lying about. But it's like an expedition, it's really fun. And after that, I still have a bunch of maps not complete because you have all these ideas for things and it's just so exciting. So you just start building and stuff I'll go back to because as you learn and you grow, it'll be like you go back to a map and it'll be like, oh, I need to fill in this area or change that, move this. You learn about control zones and such, but I had no idea. I haven't even played like the regular game, the campaign or whatever. And since then, I bought 4 and 3. 3, the graphics are a bit dated, kind of the jagged edge line, whatever they call it. But 4, I would definitely buy. I definitely recommend that. But I couldn't believe it. It's exactly what I was explaining to my father. And then wouldn't you know it? And I'm also looking into the Halo. They call it Forge, where you can design your own maps. Because I've read mixed things about the games. I don't care about the campaign and all that, the gameplay on that. But just the Forge aspect of it. But I was so thrilled and relieved because, being able to design your own maps. Because I told them, when I started this, I was like, there's some maps I want to recreate. I think I had said that. But once you get in there, I just started building my own stuff. I had no interest in recreating any maps, from like dated games and that, which I'm sure I will eventually because the Conflict series of games, we talk about those every now and then because those games now, they didn't remaster them or release them we played on the original Xbox. I don't think they're even on 360. But that series of games, something like that where you kind of update and upgrade and such. But Yeah, and since then I've just put out so much content because I'll take stills from the progress of the map design and then I'll load them onto TikTok, add music, share them. And the cool thing about TikTok is it automatically saves your video to your phone, to your files, so that I can share it on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Last summer, about a year ago, maybe even this month, I stumbled upon or discovered Planet Coaster. And I wish I could remember. I was probably looking for, like game design, map level design or something. And that showed up on YouTube. Because I didn't even think of like roller coasters because I actually don't like them. I like the look of them. I like what they do. I like the idea of them. I just don't like being on them. However, this game blew me away. I was very hesitant, very worried. Though when I got the game and the title screen, the coaster, the red coaster, it didn't look right. Like, it didn't look like high definition. And I was like, what's going on with this? This is throwing me off. So I was worried. Because I'll read reviews for a game. And it's tricky because on Xbox, you go to the store, you'll read reviews about games crashing and such a lot. Like, there's another one I was looking into. I'm not going to name it because I don't want to bash it. But people are saying it's really laggy, crashes a lot. But some of those reviews are for PC versions. Xbox, it's like, you just need the Xbox. Like, it's built to handle these games. You have a certain amount of memory, but it's like set up for it. You don't need to modify it or anything. But Planet Coaster blew me away. Beautiful game. Definitely visually rivals cities. With Far Cry, I can't really compare it because with Far Cry, it's when you start building maps, you'll see it looks realistic. Or like an ultimate, video game visual, if that makes sense. But I couldn't believe it because, again, there's so many options. I bought all except for the Ghostbusters DLC and just had a blast. I'm still working on like 2 or 3 new parks right now. And one of them I'm, bringing back the Old West. I know, in a coaster park. So basically, you have a tour through Old West like a ghost town. But along the way, they have like, food shops and gift shops and some rides in that. But I'm so proud of it, and it's amazing what you can do. And it's just so easy to go through all the stuff. And again, just like, Far Cry and other games and that, once you figure it out, it's like, oh, okay. And then you learn like, well, how much space do I need? Because again, that starting path, if it's like a mile long, you're like, the guests, they literally just turn away if they're walking too far and there's nothing along the way. So again, you learn as you go. But Planet Coaster, I wish that even the new cities, from what I've seen in some of the video logs and that, it's still not there. It's pretty close. But Planet Coaster, like, it's one game, doesn't need a remaster at all. Looks beautiful. And it's just funny because, again, I'm like, I don't hate roller coasters. I just don't want to be on them. But I like that people get a thrill out of them. It's fun to see that. But it's not only coaster. There are other rides like teacups and like a carousel and such. Get all the expansion packs. It's totally worth it. I'm waiting for the Ghostbusters one just to drop in price to like $7.99 because I want to use that to build a Halloween park because, it's June now and I'd like to release that in October. But all the packs in that, totally worth it, I feel. Because you go through everything and it's like even the create tab, you can type in the search bar or whatever you're looking for and stuff will come up. And I have so many cool projects in that. And even a challenge for Mr. Beast, which I still haven't finished. But you look on my TikTok and you can see some of those videos. But another cool thing about, the advancement in video games and such and online multiplayer, like Far Cry 5 and 4 and 3, the maps I'm building, I want others to play. So the cool thing is, again, you can have like a multiplayer map. You can do a solo co-op map, design them however you want. You can have, different objectives, like get to the exit. That's the journey one. Outposts, assault. And it's so much fun because if I were just building maps, just like Maker Mod, eventually I would have gotten not bored with it, but I've been like, well, I want other people to play these. I don't want to just make them for myself. Whereas now, like Planet Coaster, you upload the blueprint of your map to the Frontier Workshop. I haven't really looked into it. I haven't looked at other people's designs just because I don't want to take their ideas. But I believe people can like download your work and that way they can experience the park and they can rate and review it and such, which is really cool. Because just sharing stuff, like the experience with people. And especially with Far Cry. Because the maps, I'm so proud of them. But you want feedback, like especially maps, there's like assault, multiplayer, team deathmatch. You want to see people be like, this is the best map ever, or hey, could you add some barrels, explosives, or something? Feedback like that, because you can release, other versions of maps as well. I believe it replaces the old map, but you can like update, you can edit a map, and then kind of re-release it. But that's really cool. Now, when Planet Coaster 2 does come along, that's a game I love it so much. And there aren't really any limitations because you can like stop, the live mode. So let's say you start building your map and you're like, oh, I don't want the people, the customers coming in yet. Because they'll start walking through and be like, this place sucks. There's nowhere to eat. You're like, I'm still building. You can stop the live mode. But on that note, I would like to see in Planet Coaster 2, whatever they call it, because I like that people can ride the rides and you see them and you can take screenshots and that. But I'd actually like to see people not just sit down on benches, because they already do that, but actually go up and like get food and sit down, because I'll set up tables and stuff. And just a little more interaction with stuff like that, with the surroundings. And also, they have these like lovely hotels and restaurants. And I'd like to be able to go inside those, because you can, if you're going through like with the camera and taking stills and exploring. But I'd actually like to be able to go in those and maybe even build in there. But again, you'll keep busy just designing your own parks and theme parks, adventure parks and such. But little details like that, but have it optional, because some people are like, no, just give me the hotel. I don't care what it looks like on the inside. And I get that it's Planet Coaster, but still just have, some more options in that. But visually, you couldn't ask for more. And even the characters look great. And yeah, I love the game. It's so much fun. And the possibilities are endless. Well, driving home, it was bothering me because I'm like, I know there's a game I'm forgetting. I'm pretty sure. Because even over the years, I haven't played a lot of, city building or map design games at all. And then I remembered Tony Hawk, because I just bought 1 and 2. and because it was like $15, for the game they sell as one, because you can create your own park. And I remember doing that years ago. I'm trying to remember. I remember playing like the base game and that, but I'm pretty sure the first time I created a park, it may have been around the time, gosh, it may have even been before MakerMod, because I remember like you couldn't share anything, and this may have been on the original Xbox, or maybe I just played the game, and this is, like early Tony Hawk games, and because if I didn't record anything, no screenshot, no video, it's funny to think back, on older consoles and that, because you just play with friends, go to school, talk about games you beat and games you're playing. But now it's like, I couldn't design something and not share it. That's just not right. But Tony Hawk, that may have been the first one, the Creative Park. But yeah, I just remembered that game. I came home, looked in my game library, and I'm like, of course. But that one's a lot of fun, and while I'd like to have more tools, more features and stuff, it's really about the skating. Not about like, I want more trees or more trash cans or whatever. And, stuff like that. But it's definitely a lot of fun. And especially when you test out your own park and that, and then share it with other people. I bought Skate 3. It's funny because I went to buy that right before the Tony Hawk game I bought recently. And I forgot, I already bought Skate 3 like years ago or whatever. And because I was looking on YouTube, looking at parks, just seeing examples and stuff. But I didn't realize you have to play the game, like the base game, I think, to unlock it. So that was pretty disappointing. And I think the same with, I bought Halo, I think it was Halo 5. And you had to, like, beat the base game, the campaign or whatever. I wish they would tell you that. I just have it, like, yeah, you can play the campaign, you can build whatever, multiplayer. But I'm trying to think back on the Tony Hawk game, the Creative Park, because that may have been the first one ever for me, as far as creating stuff, your own stuff. And also going through my library, it's funny because I mentioned in the first segment about cities being remastered. I forgot they actually did that. I downloaded it and I was really disappointed by it. And I know some people were confused about the DLCs they'd purchased but didn't get. But I just figured, maybe what I was trying to say is that I think what we saw in the preview for 2, I thought that's what the remaster was going to look like for the first one. But anyways, I'm glad, it's coming out, and it's very exciting. Well, I guess that is a podcast episode, huh? I'm going through all the segments. It was just going to be about cities too, but I had very brief notes on that. So then I just decided to go back and talk about other, games you can build stuff on. But I hope you enjoyed that. A bit of history about myself. And I just love creating stuff and sharing. And especially, you can share like previews. You can share stills of progress and stuff. And it's great with social media these days. Because now, I wouldn't want to go back like 20, 30 years. And even to experience the same things. Because it's like, compared to what we have now, it's amazing. Because you can share not only with friends, but with everyone. But I'd love to hear from you. Leave some comments. Do you remember the first game when you started like building stuff yourself? Or games you'd like to see? Because I actually bought one of those construction simulator games, but I haven't played it yet because I've been busy with these other ones. But yeah, leave a voice message, leave a comment, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Check out the links in the description. And thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll for sure have a review of Cities Skylines 2 when that comes out. So very excited about that. And you got the Ron Dude. I still don't have an outro. I don't know. But I appreciate listening. We'll see you next time.